Welcome to Timeline Week. It is officially here. I am so pumped to kick this off. Today I will be interviewing Adam, the dancing cowboy, and we will be going over a whole bunch of logistics and wedding timeline stuff to ensure that your day is just like amazing. I mean, let's get the party started, and I thought it'd be so fun to start with Adam. So let me make sure I can add him. So let's see here, send request. Let's see if this goes through. Come on. All right, Adam, you just have to accept. It's coming your way. It's coming your way. Hey, how are you?
Doing well.
Good. Oh my gosh, happy Timeline Week. I'm so thankful for you to join us.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so pumped. Okay, so I just want to dive right into the questions. I don't want to waste any time. I want to just get into it. Okay. So one of the first questions I have is, can you go over just kind of like your intake form or something, like the questions that you ask your couples when they are ready to start planning their reception, and what kind of logistics for planning their reception? What advice do you have for that?
Sure. So once I book a client, we definitely get them a questionnaire, and that helps them to pick all their favorite music for their wedding. And also it kind of helps to set the vibe for what kind of wedding reception they want to have.
Perfect. Okay, so can you elaborate more on that? Because when you just came out here to visit not too long ago, we had a great conversation about what type of reception you want. And
right.
It's funny because when you said that, I was like, well, duh, you just want to have fun and you just want to dance. But there are other types of weddings or types of vibes. So yeah. Can you maybe share like a couple or a handful of typical weddings and different vibes that you can help create?
Well, sure. So it all depends on you and your guests at your wedding. You know, some people want to dance. That's their favorite thing to do is dance. And other people, they want to hang out, with their friends, take pictures. They're definitely not likely to go dance very long. So if you try to throw a dance party, it's going to fizzle out.
Yeah, it just kind of goes up, down, up, down, up, down.
Exactly. And so those people, I don't mind whatever vibe you want to have for your wedding, but just let us know. And that way we can plan accordingly and make the day as exactly how you want it. So for those who want kind of like a family reunion style, just some low-key music in the background, all their favorite tunes, nothing crazy. But if you don't know what the vibe is and you plan for something and it doesn't work, so you've got to know what kind of party do they want to have.
I think that's incredible. And I think as an expert, you're coming in and you're asking these questions that couples may not even think of, right? Because sometimes you just assume, just from going to other people's weddings, how you kind of want your day to plan out. Or maybe you may think, whoa, I don't want my wedding to be like that, right?
Right.
So you kind of learn what not to do sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's helpful.
Definitely. So after you figure out what kind of vibe, you want to have at your wedding reception, the timeline is a really good, important tool that I like to get to my clients. And I know that you have a timeline. The wedding venue has a timeline. There's a lot of timelines involved in a wedding.
Everyone likes to say their 2 cents.
Right.
Yeah.
But so my timelines that I give them are on a Google document, so they can keep changing it all over the place. They don't need to keep resending it back. Just add more as you go, and just make sure the timelines jive with all the other timelines. That way we're all on the same page.
And I really appreciate that. That's why I really enjoy, especially this lineup for Timeline Week, is everyone really is an expert where it's all a puzzle piece. It all kind of goes together. So if the morning is thrown off, it just kind of once the train's in motion, there's no stopping it. And then poor DJs, once we get to you guys, it's like, okay, well, either make up time or let's scrap to make this happen. So, yeah, I appreciate that we can all share our input for what our needs are, and that helps.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I'd like to ask you another question. This came from one of our viewers. What has been your experience with toasts and speeches with reception? So I know personally this can kind of be a headache sometimes trying to figure out, when do you speak? Do you speak during dinner? Do you speak after dinner? What in your experience has been helpful for speeches?
No, that's definitely a good question, because speeches, can either be really amazing or they can go south in a second. So
we've seen it all, right?
Exactly. So I think again it goes back to what kind of people are the people you're gonna have speak. Are they party animals? Are they gonna get a little too tipsy before the speech? If so, I recommend having the speeches before dinner. If they're pretty, laid back and conservative, can hold their liquor before talking, then you can wait till after dinner.
Okay.
But the worst thing you want to do is have speeches like during a buffet line when everyone's like standing around waiting for their food. So,
great. Okay, so that's a good logistic tip, is to make sure people are served, then begin, and then just knowing your people. If they're party people, let's get it done fast.
And early.
That's awesome. No, I love your honesty about that and all that experience, because those are things people need to know. Right?
Yeah, definitely. And another one is if you're planning on doing a toast, with champagne poured at each table, you got to factor that in. So you have to key in the event staff to do that, probably 20 minutes before the time, because it's going to take a while to pop all the tops and, pour champagne. Mm-hmm. And even if you have a super low-key wedding where it's, grab your drink at the bar or whatever, let people know so they have time to do it. Don't say, we're going to do a toast in 2 minutes, and everyone's like, oh, God, I don't have anything to toast with. So.
And nobody listens at weddings. Like, nobody. Nobody listens, so they just do what they want.
This is true. But you got to at least give them the option and the heads up so they can try.
Give them that time. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, amazing. Okay, perfect. Yes, those are great answers. So let's roll into the next question, because I know you're an expert at this. What kind of benefits or what type of fun experiences can you help create with some entertainment and maybe including some line dancing at weddings?
Sure. So every wedding DJ has similar sound equipment, right? We've got speakers, we have backup speakers, we have microphones, we have backup microphones. But the one thing that I offer that most don't is fun and easy line dance lessons.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's a riot. Even if you're not into country music, a lot of the fun and easy dance lessons aren't even to country songs. So
okay, good to know.
It can work for any style wedding. But a good place to put the line dancing is let's say you have like a really big family and you want to get an extended photo shoot, in between the reception or the ceremony and the reception. And so that might take an hour and a half to do. It's like herding cats to get all the family members in the right spot.
Thanks, right?
As you know. But line dancing is a good way to, at least, fun and easy lessons is a good way to entertain your guests so they're not just sitting there twiddling their thumbs while y'all get all those photos taken.
That's brilliant. And just to keep it real, that is an opportunity to keep things moving so people just aren't kind of snacking on tiny hors d'oeuvres and snacks and just pounding drinks, right? Like that kind of business.
That or planning their exit. You never know. Like some people have multiple things to do on a Saturday.
Yeah, they're like, peace out, they're done. No, that's awesome.
Yeah. And one more spot that's good to put the line dance lessons is kind of to kick off the dance party of the evening. So, you have your first dances done, and it's just a way to get everyone up on the dance floor, and, it just takes that party up. It's so much easier to get them out on the dance floor.
It gets things going. No, it does. And it's so fun. I had so much fun line dancing with you when you were out here. It was like the best time.
Yeah, line dancing, it's a lot of fun. People knock it sometimes, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no. Obviously. Well, and I'm happy you mentioned that too, because even if you are not into country music, because I know even some of my family members just aren't really into country, and that's totally fine. Obviously, my heart beats for country music. But I love that you mentioned that. So if you are interested in, Adam's DJ services, like, guys, just know that he has access to all of the songs, not just country music. So I love that.
Oh, my buddy Andrew said, I taught line dancing at his wedding. He's commenting.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Perfect. Oh, my gosh, yes. And then, okay, let's see. I have another question for you. Okay, so this one, we kind of went over, touched a little bit on this already, but what would you say is your best advice for couples that just want to have a fun wedding, that just want to just dance, just party, and really make the experience about the guest having a great time.
Right. Okay. Well, so that is one of the different vibes, that you can create during your reception. And for people that want to do that dance party, I really suggest kind of like a formal beginning to your reception, but get all the major events out of the way. Cut the cake,
dances,
the garter, even the garter and the bouquet. That's something I'm trying to encourage people to do early in the night, because no one wants a photo for their bouquet toss with two ladies in the background, right? Everyone there. And so the best way to do it is to do it early.
I love that. And you're right, because typically once just like a party, it's going, if music is going and you're getting those like just fun songs blasting, you don't want to just pause and be like, wah, wah, and like.
It is really, really hard to get a party going a second time at a wedding. Because I want to say most people want to dance for like 45 minutes and they're done after that. So
really?
I think so. I
guess you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, straight anyways. I mean, a lot, think about it. You go out to a club, you might dance for half an hour, 45 minutes.
That's true, you get tired.
Yeah. And then again, you also want to, mingle with your guests somewhat as well, because they're there to share the day with you. So I suggest trying to get through all those special events. Cutting the cake, the garter toss, bouquet toss, first dances with the family members, mom and dad, and then just go, into that dance party that lasts, 45 minutes, maybe an hour and a half if you're super crazy. And then, just kind of taper off and you're done. And I think one thing that's underrated these days is the after party.
Okay, can you tell me more about that?
So the after party is for everyone who wants to keep partying,
Okay.
Want to do some more dancing, want to do whatever, find a place nearby and just have an after party. And and that way the people with kids, the people that aren't, all-nighters, can feel comfortable about leaving and not have to worry about, being rude or anything like that.
Right, and there are a lot of venues that have a hard time stamp on, 9:55 last song, 10 p.m. out. It's very common for venues to kick you out by 10 or 11 p.m. So that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
So going back, since this week is all about timeline, I feel like you've given us lots of information about logistics of the day, like events and things to think about. But what would you say is like the sweet spot for couples to plan for their actual timeline? Like how many hours? Yeah, sure. Like how long? And maybe like a quick checkpoint of breakdowns would be really helpful.
Right. So I want to say 5 hours is a sweet spot.
Okay.
I really think that's a good way to do it. I mean, if you can do 6, but once you pass that point, it just gets super long for everybody.
It's a long day. It's a long
day.
So let me clarify. So when you say 5 hours, does that mean from grand entrance to the last song? Or what does that mean?
That's ceremony through the whole thing.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. Okay, so so then can you break that down for us, just so people are taking notes?
The biggest thing, as a DJ, the biggest thing that people forget to include is the prelude, which is the 30 minutes of songs that come before you walk down the aisle.
I forgot to ask you that. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Yes.
So a prelude is a fancy word for pre-music.
Okay.
It's the music before the bridesmaids walk down the aisle, and then the whole thing kicks off. And what that does is it prevents the awkward, I don't know you, situation when everyone's coming to sit down for the wedding.
Yeah. And everyone's early. I'm sorry, there are people that talk about weddings and families that are, I have to tell my family it starts later, and we do have some families and cultures that are just late, and I get that. But typically on wedding days, I don't know, everyone just starts arriving. And so
most people don't want to be late, so they're like, we'll just get here 45 minutes early or an hour early.
Yes, yeah.
And, you're still setting up, and, it is what it is, but you want to have some sort of music going about 30 minutes before. For a lot of, some venues don't allow that, because they have kind of like a shotgun style.
Okay.
But for the ones that do allow for prelude music, definitely. You want to, plan for the day, or at least the ceremony part of it, to start 30 minutes before your actual ceremony.
And so anyone that's tuning in now, that just means that before the ceremony even begins, planning for like 30, possibly even 45 minutes before a songs. Now, I wanted to ask you, is that something that couples typically will be like, hey, these are the favorite songs we want to play before this? Or do they typically just kind of give you a genre or like play some Michael Bublé before? Like, what do you offer?
Yeah. So you can, I definitely ask, like, what style. I have, personally, I mean, since obviously I'm a dancing cowboy, a lot of instrumental country songs, so it's just the music, no words.
Love it.
And then I have, the whole, like, bubbly, Michael Bublé and,
some like oldies
Calais
and stuff.
Yeah. So we have different options, but usually it's, kind of calming music.
No, I love that. I think that's brilliant. And that's one thing I remember on, in fact, to this day, your blog post that I featured you on, is the most hit with Pinterest. Like, it's insane. I can't believe it. And so on that blog post I shared, or you had shared, 13 different songs that a lot of wedding couples often forget. And so I'm happy you mentioned about the prelude stuff because it's important. It just, you don't really think about that until it's too late, kind of thing.
Right.
And then you're trusting your DJ to figure it out, and hopefully they're an expert like you and they know what they're doing.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Let's see. So you have your prelude, like the whole ceremony for the average wedding, unless it's Catholic or some other style, is going to go for only like 30 minutes.
Right, they're quick.
So you don't need to plan too much time for that. You need a little transition time to go from ceremony to reception, unless it's in the same exact spot.
Okay.
And even so, especially those are even harder because, you need some event staff to turn over the tables and stuff like that.
Do some magic and move things around.
Right, and those usually have like a cocktail, like somewhere off to the side. That way you're not in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What else? I would say the biggest thing about the timeline, though, is being coordinated with the photographer as a DJ. The really good photographers anticipate when the next thing's going to happen, so they're already setting up for, the cake cutting, and when that's done, they're setting up over here for the first dances.
Yep, we're on it.
And so, having the DJ and the wedding photographer coordinate at least a few days before, not too far ahead, because we've got like one of these every week.
Just touching base the week of.
The week before, to touch base, but to know, hey, this is a good flow, to get that timeline, to stay on the timeline, because again, you can usually make it up, but then it kind of makes the day feel rushed.
And that's why let it bottle up to the bottom to explode. Okay, wait. So now that, because I'm like calculating all these things, so your suggestion would be about a 5-hour situation from the ceremony. So let's just say about an hour for the ceremony, even though the ceremony takes 30 minutes. It's,
5.5 really, I guess, would probably be a better total timeline if you include the prelude.
Okay, perfect. And that's helpful. So after the ceremony, then we roll into family portraits, cocktail hour, and then sitting down for dinner. And then that would only be about maybe 2.5 to 3 hours for just like open dancing, right? You figure that's about pretty good?
Well, yeah, but you also have to think about the speeches. There's the speeches that can take anywhere from 20 minutes to 45 minutes.
Okay. Some people like to talk.
I really don't recommend open mics. The ones that have had those never really go well.
Yeah.
But some people love to do that. And
I know, it's so hard. That's why it's hard for me to have an opinion on it, because some couples really love it, and then some it's just like, oh God, we just need to pull the mic away from drunk Uncle Mike or something. I don't know. It's crazy. Yeah.
Or maybe give them some good firm rules, like, 2 minutes max.
Right. Haven't practiced before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Perfect. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much, Adam. Like, these are incredible tips. I feel like these are all part of the day that people don't. I feel like a lot of couples just don't know. Like they need that support and that guidance. And so having that help from you and kind of creating those checkpoints or those questions to ask is really helpful. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it.
Definitely the timeline. And the biggest thing I have to say is remember to cross-check all your timelines. if you have to copy and paste it from one spot to all the places that need it, that's
Yeah.
fine. But at least make sure it's the same one so that
Right.
on the day of, everyone's on the same team.
And you know what? I'm so happy you mentioned that because I've been to multiple weddings where the DJ has his or her thing lined up, the videographer comes and she has her thing figured out, and it's just, and the venue is strict on theirs, and then all of a sudden, typically they're usually pretty close, but there's always plus or minus 30 minutes here and there, and it can get really confusing. And that's a really good advice. Perfect. Oh my gosh. So how does everybody find you, Adam? Like, how can they contact you?
Find me? How do you stalk Adam the Dancing Cowboy?
Yeah.
So on Facebook, just search for Adam the Dancing Cowboy. And on the Instagram, it's just Dancing Cowboy. That's about it. But my website is dancingcowboy.com, so it's pretty easy. I tried to do that. And you'll also get to see my fancy new headshots from Quianna Marie.
Guess who shot them? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you for just pulling off on the side of the road and letting me shoot you.
That was a lot of fun.
So fun. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much, Adam. I have one more question for you. So this is one question I'm asking all of my guest speakers this week. And can you share, I know there might be many, but can you share just one moment of a wedding day that is your favorite? Just one moment that's your favorite, maybe shared between the couple, a fun experience you had, just one thing.
Okay, so I would say, there's been hundreds of these things, but the most recent one that I remember that was really cool was when the wedding officiant kind of gave a brief overview of how the couple met to the day they got married, through the actual ceremony. It was kind of interesting to hear that. And it was really funny because the couple actually grew up in the town that I lived in. And so I knew all the places they were talking about. So that was
that's awesome.
At least personally. So
that's awesome.
But you don't want it to be too long, nice, quick, little brief one.
Right, quick little bio.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant. I'm happy you mentioned that because there's always so much kind of traditions and this, you should do that, you should do this, and opinions about weddings. And at the end of the day, what makes it really special is when they're personalized and when, they're customized to these couples, and you really get to know them. They're exchanging their vows, they're joining their families, and having just a little bit of backstory that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was really nice, and 1 Corinthians 13 is amazing, but we all know it by heart now, right? If you're offended.
Yeah. Yep.
Because it gets enough airtime all the time, but So something that makes it unique. Another quick one was had a bartender get married, and so they did the blending of the wines, and so they mixed a red and a white.
That's cute.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love those. I love those unique stories that make them really unique to the couple. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much, Adam. I really appreciate your time, and I think all your tips and tricks are really helpful, especially for all these recently engaged couples. And so thank you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.